Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a playthrough of the Studio the Card game. If you're looking for the how to play video, I'll add a link in the description below, which will talk through all the rules. This is going to be a 3-player game, and we're going to play 1 or 2 rounds just to give you a feel for how the game flows. I'm going to refer to player 1 as the player in front of me, player 2 will be to my left, and player 3 will be to my right. Now, every player is going to start with a project card in front of them. These are all mixtape cards, which have 2 components on them. Play proceeds clockwise around the table, and on your turn, you get to perform 1 action. If you remember, the game is broken into a number of years. Every year is 4 quarters. Every quarter is a rotation around the table. So let's just jump straight into it. So player 1's going to go first. Their project is a mixtape, and they need a verse and a beat in order to complete their project. Now, in a regular game, as you collect cards, you're going to be holding them in your hand. But in order for you to kind of see what's going on the table, I'm just going to place the cards to the left or to the right of the project card so you can kind of see what's happening. So player 1's going to take this verse from the studio cards, and that's going to go into their hand. All right, now we're on to player 2. They need a beat and a hook to complete their project. So they're going to go ahead and take this beat 4. And player 3 needs a verse and a hook. Now, you may see this, this swap 4 that looks like a hook. Now, in order to pick up a swap card, you have to discard a card of the same type. And so they don't have any cards in their hand, so they can't pick this up right now. So the best card that they can pick up on the table is this hook 3. So they're going to add that to their hand. That's the end of Q1. So we flip over this quarter card so we can keep track of what quarter we're in. And player 1's back up. They have their verse. They need to get a beat. So they're going to pick up this beat 3. All right, player 2's back up. They need a hook. There aren't any hooks that they can pick up. They're going to go ahead and pick from the top of the studio deck. All right, they got their hook. We're moving on to player 3. They need a verse card. They will go ahead and pick up this verse here. That's the end of Q2. Right, on to Q3. So player 1 has everything that they need to release, but they still have 2 more actions in this year. So instead of going ahead and immediately releasing, they could get another beat, which would be improve on their beat 3. But instead of that, they're actually going to pick up this boost. The way that these boosts work is this is going to add +2 to their project. And boosts are played when you release a project. So in Q4, when they release, they can go ahead and play this card with their project. All right, we're on to player 2. They have everything that they need. They're actually going to go ahead and release. All right, so they released a project worth 8. They immediately get a new project. So they're going to pick up this guy. On to player 3. Let's see. They have everything that they need, but they're not going to beat out this project, and they know that player 1 also has picked up some good stuff. So instead of releasing, they are actually going to they're going to pick up this post promo card. So the promo cards work similar to boosts in that they add to your project, but you have to play them as a separate action from releasing. So they're not going to be able to use that this year, but maybe next year they will. And that's the end of Q3. All right, it's Q4. Player 1 is up. They're going to go ahead and release. So that boost goes along with their project. This project is valued at 9, so they're on the top of the charts at the moment. Because they release, they immediately get a new project. Grab one from up here. All right, now it's back to player 2. They need to go ahead and get started on their second project. They'll collect this beat. All right, and now we're on to player 3 again. They're not going to release because they can't beat either of these projects. And so instead, they're going to continue building on this. And so let's actually, because they already have a lot of the components, and they'll probably collect more in the next year. They're actually going to discard this project and pick up this one over here. All right, so they've already got 2 of those components completed, so they're just going to need 1 more verse, and then in year 2, they'll be able to release that project. All right, so we made it. That's the end of the year. Now we do scoring. So we look at the table. Player 1 got first place with a project valued at 9, and then player 2 got second place with a project valued at 8. So first place gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points. So now if you scan the QR code or go to the studio.cards/scorecard, you'll see there's a web app that will help you keep score for you. And so you would put in there, player 1 got 3 points, player 2 got 2 points. After we do scoring, we move on to the event phase. So everyone is going to get one of these event cards. And then you read those cards in the order that play proceeded in that year. So player 1 will go first. Their card was, they got +1 to their unreleased project for a video game soundtrack. So this card is going to go on their new project. And the value of this project will be increased by 1 whenever they release. All right, player 2's card says applied pressure. Discard any card from your hand. Unfortunately, the only card in their hand is this beat 4, so this goes in the discard pile. Player 3's card says album of the year, gain 1 total point. So if we go back into the scoring app, underneath year 1, there is a row for the events for year 1, and player 3 would get +1. So now if we look back at the score, player 1 has 3 points, player 2 has 2 points, and player 3 has 1 point. After we do events, we reset the table. So the first thing that we do is any released projects get discarded. So this project over here, those cards go into the discard pile. Same with this project. And then this project over here was never released. So it just rolls on over into the next year, just like these other 2 projects. All right, next thing we do after we clear the projects is we wipe the table. We're going to reset our quarter cards. And then we're going to deal out new cards. And then the starting player rotates. So player 2 is going to start us off in year 2. All right, year 2 starts. Player 2 needs a verse and 2 beats for their project. They'll go ahead and collect this verse. Player 3 is up. They still need to collect 1 more verse in order to complete their project. So they're going to pick from the studio deck. Player 1 needs 2 hooks and a verse. So they're going to grab this good hook right here. That's the end of Q1. It's Q2. Player 2 is going to go ahead and grab one of these beats. And now player 3 is actually going to release their project. They'll play those on top of their card. And they immediately get a new project card. Grab this guy. You'll notice, unlike the boosts, they can't play this promo card with their project, but because it's a post promo, in the next quarter, they'll be able to actually play it on their project. All right, on to player 1. Grab one of these hooks. That's the end of Q2. All right, player 2 is going to, they need to get a beat. So they're going to collect this other beat here. Player 3 is working on a new project now, but they also have this post promo that they're going to go ahead and add as their action to this project to increase the value from 6 to 9 or to 8. All right, back to player 1. They're going to collect this verse. All right, and now we're on to Q4. So Q4, player 2 is the starting player. They have everything that they need for their project, which has a value of 6. And they're going to go ahead and actually release that. They immediately get a new project. All right. Back to player 3. So they have one project on the board. They don't have any cards to play. So they're going to go ahead and start working on the second project. We'll grab a beat. Okay, and now we're back to player 1. So they have the requirements that they need. This project, if they released it, would be worth 9 points. And that would put them in first place. So they're going to go ahead and release that project. They get their new project. And that's the end of the year. So now we go back into scoring. So player 1 gets first place with 9. Player 3 would get second place with 8. And unfortunately, player 2 doesn't get any points because they got third place. This is a 3-player game. There are no points awarded for third place. So if we go back into our scoring, player 1 now has 6 points. Player 2 still has 2 points. And player 3 has 3 points. That's pretty much the game. We go into our event phase, and then we would reset the table, and we would start year 3. The game keeps playing until one player hits 10 total points. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I hope you have a fun time playing the studio.